Hi guys, Natalie here, Only One United. We're here for a big debate, and you see people on the screen, or if you're going to be listening back later via other means audio, then I've got Chloe, Mia, and Namrata. Hey girls, are you okay? Chloe, I'll come to you first. How you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Great, thanks.
Good. Mia?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. I have had a really good day, I can say.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And Namrata, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So yeah, we're talking about a devil's debate, a big topic that's, I'd say, dividing the fan base. But for me, I think it's important that we have these discussions, but we keep it sort of, respectful, neutral. It's all right for everyone to have their opinions on it, but keep it professional, keep it real. And obviously that debate is about our midfield, who's best in there. I think a lot of us agree Hayely Ladd should be playing. A lot of us want to see Vilde playing a bit further up, because she's scoring a lot of goals when she does play further forward. But I think the one area that I'm seeing divide the most is sort of about Jackie Groenen or Katie Zelem. I just want to go through, I suppose, everyone here's opinion. When do you want to see them playing? Do you want to see them playing together? They played together at the weekend versus Man City. Unfortunately lost that. Zelem scored a really, really good goal, and she's on that form. So Chloe, I just want to come to you. Your views on Zelem. She's obviously played a lot of games. Marc really rates her. What do you think of Katie as a player overall, and just basically what you've seen of her?
To be honest, I think quite highly of her. Like you say, I know the fan base is kind of quite divided about her at the moment. Which I understand, but people get very defensive over her being quite undroppable at the minute. But when she puts in corners like she did at the weekend, her set pieces are absolutely unparalleled. She's needed in there. I think sometimes she doesn't do the best in like one-to-ones. It could be better there. But like I say, a set piece ability just means that she should be starting every game, in my opinion. She's part of the history now with United. She saw us come through the Championship into the UWCL. She's seen us. She wants that place more than anyone. I think some of the abuse she gets isn't fair. She's an integral part of the team, the club at this point. And I think, discussing her personal life and who she's friends with in different teams isn't okay. Her pass rate, really good. I'd probably say Jackie was better in that regard. But yeah, I think when we're sort of, I'm not necessarily sure if the link up between her and the back is the best, but I don't think that's her playing style. So yeah.
No, I definitely don't think her playing style is as that kind of link up. I think definitely for me, Hayely Ladd should be in there. But if you're going to say that bit further forward, then yeah, I think she's got every right to be in there. I mean, Nam, what do you think? Katie Zelem, do you think she should be in there? Should you be in there all the time? I mean, just your views on, I suppose, seeing her from when you started watching to now. Do you think she's developed well? Just let us know.
Yeah, I think she's a good player. I won't say that. I won't say she's the. I think she obviously does get criticized a lot on social media, but I don't think she's a bad player at all. I think just like any player, she has like strengths and weaknesses. It just so happens that the position that she plays in, and first of all, I don't think she's a defensive midfielder, but she has to play in that position more of the time. And so when played out of position, and for me, I think defensive midfielder is one of the most important positions in a team. So her weaknesses and her mistakes actually lead to really big errors, which lead to goals and which kind of contribute in us losing a match. So I think in terms of her journey, so I've been watching United since the first season in WSL, and I think the first half or almost the entire first season, right, I think she was pretty good. And I remember when the Lionesses would drop their lineup announcement, right? The call-up announcement, and all the United fans would go, "Yeah, Katie Zelem has to be in Lionesses," and everyone was kind of really one of our own, and people really loved her. And I think something happened last season where, to me, it didn't look like she was confident, and you could see in matches, and during the team huddles that she's not having good performances, kind of getting to her. And last season with a lot of off-pitch stuff as well, with the whole Dubai Gate thing, I think kind of lost a little bit of goodwill with the fans. And I think all of these things kind of put together, I think this season she's been good. Wasn't that great in the first few matches, but then she really picked up pace. And I think uh, last few matches, if we take maybe the last couple of matches away, she was actually pretty good. And as I just say, so for me, actually, it's the fact that she's not a bad player; she's a good player, but it's up to the coaching team to really play her in those situations where her strengths are utilized and kind of shield her from weaknesses, because she has some really good strengths, right? She's right now in form where she can really help us in set pieces, but against certain teams, if you play her without Lad and as the only defensive midfielder, you're 100% gonna see the weak side of her. So yeah, I think some of the criticism is probably not warranted, but good player. And probably for some matches she should start, and I think for some matches, probably the other midfielders should start, and that's why you have rotation in the squad.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Lad is the key. Lad should always play,
Yeah.
like you say. I think we've got in Jade Moore, who's sort of similar to Lad. And I do think that's where we see, like you say, not weaknesses, but you see the mistakes because she's not that player. And you talk about first season, but I remember watching her in 2018 in the Championship, and I know it's a different championship now, but she was Player of the Year like that year, and it was well deserved. No one questioned that it wasn't her. It was only her or Alex, really, and that she was a standout. But I do agree with what you're saying. She has been our better player. She was, in my opinion, she was our best player versus City. Unfortunate result. Mia, I just want to come to you. You're you're not a neutral, because I say you are a red, but you are a neutral in that there's no player fandom. I wouldn't say you're a Jackie fan, you're a Katie fan. You're just very, very, very more neutral than others.
Yeah, I'm trying to be, at least. I agree that I think that the defensive midfielder is probably the weakest part in all the Women's Super League teams, especially if they're gonna compete out in Europe, because that's where you see where it probably differs a lot. But that is also because of the fact that English football is being played very direct and straight. That's the first thing I want to say. But I also want to say that if the defensive midfielder doesn't succeed, it's not something happens before the ball reaches the defensive midfield parts. So it's about what's happening in front of that player or those players, because Manchester United is playing with, I think it's with 2 6s, if I'm not mistaken now. So it's like everything that happens in front of these 2 players that plays in the double pivot, that's crucial. And I think, I'm not sure if people have realized that as well, because when Signe Brun signed for Manchester United and has been coming on to play, you play a lot different up front. The shape is different and the press is different. So, and I do agree that I think you have no 6 apart from Hayely Ladd. I mean, so not going into the debate if it's Jackie or even Vilde, Risa or Katie Zelem that should be playing. But I do think it's important that the 2 players that play in that double pivot has to trust each other, know each other, and work as a unit. Because you can't just look at the players as individual. And if it might be a fact that Jackie is a better football player in quality as an individual, but that doesn't mean that she would be the best to play in that pivot with Hayely Ladd. And that we don't have that knowledge, because that's what I'm feeling, that the fans probably, we're not a part of training sessions, we're not a part of the talks in the dressing room, we're not a part of these kind of things that are so important when you choose your unit in the team.
Well, that's why I think these debates are important. And you just brought something up, Mia, for me. I don't know. We don't know. You might look at it and say Jackie's done X, Y, and Z, and Jackie this and Jackie that, and that's what they do. Jackie's just captained Holland. This and that. And I do think that Jackie is a quality player, and this is something I love, Jackie. So before anyone sends me any messages, please. But what I will say is we don't see the Jackie that we see in Holland. That's what I'm gonna say. And I said it back when she first joined. I love Jackie, and I think we saw the best Jackie Groenen first half of last season. This season, I think she started off really well, and obviously then she's got injured. But Marc said something, and I know a lot of people got annoyed at it, and I just want to come to you, Chloe, then I'll come to everyone else. He said we want to see more goals and assists from Jackie. When you hear him say that, what do you think, Chloe?
I absolutely agree. But in order to get that out of her, we need her to be playing more games. We need her to look like... I don't know whether there's something going on that we don't all know about. For me, like you say, to me, at the moment, it looks like she's not 100% happy. I'm not sure as to why, but we're not getting the best out of her, like you said. And because we're not getting the best out of her, she's not getting enough time on the ball. She can't score anymore. She can't score any goals if she's not on the pitch at the end of the day. I'd love to see more of her. Like you said, I absolutely love her. I think she's great. Like Mia touched on, she's very, very clever on the ball. She's a very technical player. We've seen that with all the sneaky little back heels and the rest of it. But fundamentally, to get goals, she needs to be on the pitch. That's where it all starts for me.
Definitely. I mean, that back heel versus Chelsea, for me. To be honest, when I watched that game versus Chelsea, I was there, and I didn't actually... They scored the goal up the other end, so I didn't realise how amazing that goal was. But for me, in that Chelsea game, I think she just... I mean, I don't know. Mia, I don't know what you think as well, but I was going to come to Nam. But for me, Jackie was our best midfielder that day. And I think we all got dead overexcited. And we were like, oh my God, Jackie and Vilde, that was just world class. And, I think it's other things that happen in that game that, I mean, that's for a different debate. I think it's other things happen in the City game where we just sort of couldn't see it through, that was frustration in it. Nam, what do you think, sort of, when you do see Jackie or Mia jump in, whoever, do you want to see more Jackie? Do you think seeing more we'll see the best of her, or do you think we should be seeing the best of her already? What's anyone? Go, you two. Go on, Mia. You go, Nam.
I think it's what I think is pretty funny also is the fact that Manchester United's defense, I mean the back line, when you look at what's happening, I'm gonna take these 2 goals now with Pernille Harder and how she can take the ball and just drive through your whole midfield. It's not the center back's fault that it's going into goal. It's the defensive midfield. So, I mean, I agree. I think Jackie was amazing in that game, but no one was in the defensive part of the midfield when Pernille Harder scored. So it's like I think sometimes fans might be focusing on the wrong things. And now, I mean, obviously, I think about this a lot because I talk to players about this now as well. And it's about, I mean, it's about knowing where your teammates are and where they. I mean, that back heel, she knew exactly, and Vilde knew exactly where the ball was going to end up. And those are the kind of relationships that needs to be built on the pitch to make it work. I don't think necessarily that it's always about, when we talk about United and then the top three themes, that it's about the fact that United are a worse team than the other three, because I do think that for some parts you can see, I mean, we have been talking about the fact that Chelsea seems like not a unit all the time, but they win games because of the individual quality. And someone has to take that responsibility for it to happen if it doesn't go into goal, no matter how many chances you score. Sometimes I do think I've seen Manchester United play games right before Christmas and after, that you can see that the potential of the unit is there. Probably more potential than the fans actually might see from time to time, because I do think that the first half versus City, this last game, that was probably one of the best halves Manchester United have been playing in a long time.
Nam, do you want to come in just on the back of that? Because I know you're going to come in earlier.
Yeah, I just want to say to Mia, I think we completely agree. I think for us, like, we play a good game. We're already winning the Champions League in our head, so we don't overestimate or underestimate our team. Uh, I think with Jackie, I'm gonna start out with just saying it that I think United fan base has this emotional connection with Jackie because she was like the first international world class player to take a chance on on us, and at a time when lesser players, if you will, they did not give us a chance. And uh, she could have joined Champions League clubs, but she chose to join us because it was her childhood club. And I think there's the story attached to this. And I think because of that, you're not really going to see a lot of United fans criticize Jackie, even if she doesn't have that good a game. And so if you see from that lens, right, all the fans, everyone wants to see Jackie play. You were talking about the first season, Nat. I thought she was actually good. I know a lot of fans probably disagree, but she was played as number 10, and for me, I don't think that's the position where she does really well. And I also agree that the best of her really came in the first half of last season. And I know it was Tobin Heath who was winning this Player of the Month awards. It was Leah Colton who was winning Player of the Month award, but for me, for the first half of last year, it was Jackie who kind of was responsible for us climbing top of the table. And then second half of last season, one of the reasons, and we did not do well, was because Jackie actually wasn't played in midfield because we had so many injuries that Casey kind of put her forward up in the wings. She put Tony at left wing, right wing, whatever. And I actually think if we had Vilde available last season, we would be in Champions League because and the reason why we don't really feel Jackie's absence as much as we would have felt if she wasn't available or she was injured last season is because we have Vilde who can do a good job behind her. And I think that's why we're having all this debate in terms of who's a better midfielder or not. I think she's a great player, and I agree with Chloe. Like, she needs to be on the pitch, and I just think it's. I my first reaction whenever Jackie's not playing is like, right, she's gonna leave in the summer. That's why she's not playing, but. And it's heartbreaking, right, when you think about that, and then I just take it out of my mind. But she went to the Olympics. She's played non-stop before that. She didn't have a preseason, so she was eased in by Mark at the start of the season. Then she got injured, so she's had a very stop-start season. And what happened is when she wasn't there, the team was doing actually pretty well. because Zelem did well, Lad did well, Wildeberries, they did really well. So maybe Mark felt that we don't have to rush her in. Uh, maybe give her a few minutes every game and then see what happens. I think in Netherlands they can't do that because I mean, if you take her out, they don't have that many midfielders really who can do Jackie's role, but we do have that, and that's why I think she's been not been playing for us, but she has been playing for Netherlands. So I just want to want to see her play, and I really hope that she stays as well for us. And uh, I think again in the whole Zelem versus Jackie debate, right? A lot of people kind of criticize Zelem or probably whatever because in fans' minds it's Zelem who's taking away Jackie's place. When if you look at the subs, Jackie and Wildeberries are the players who rotate, so they both are taking each other's place. And I know it's a little bit irrational and fans are irrational, but I think both of them have a place. And I think if you give Jackie a run of games, she's going to produce more moments like those back heels, right?
For me, Jackie, yeah, I was not one of them that didn't, but I think we didn't see the best Jackie in the first year for whatever reason. I think the best performance I saw of Jackie is actually just before it all shut down for COVID, and it was the Everton game, and it was when Tooney was as the 10. And I think Tooney as a 10 is very important as well. I know Vilde can play there as well, but I think we're seeing Tooney sort of being pushed out wide, and that might be affecting the whole dynamic. I don't know fully. I suppose this is a question that's just come into my mind now, so it's probably off topic, but talking about double pivots, and we're talking about number 6s, and if we play 2 6s, and people might not like this, but I don't know if this would maybe solve it. Would you like to see a Lad and Jade Moore partnership, and then like maybe someone else forward? I mean, Mia, I'm going to come to you, or Chloe, I'll come to you, because I see Mia's on the mute. But Chloe, I'll come to you. Would you see that? What would you think if you saw that, and maybe Vilde up top, or would you think that's too negative?
To be honest, it's not really something I've considered until you've just said it. I'd like to see how it would work, to be totally honest. I'd like to see how that sort of style of play would play wider out to the team. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm really thinking about it.
No, it's fine. It's just because Mia said about 2 6s, double pivot, and I just thought, well, for me, a 6 is a defensive midfielder. And so if you're going to play 2 6s, you'd play Jade and Lad, and that would shore it up. And then they would just pass it forward to attack. And, I mean, for me, Hayely Lad is the MVP. She is the most valuable player for us. But I think she is that because we've not got someone who can replace her. So I think potentially when Jade Moore comes in, we'll be like, oh, my God. And then Hayely comes back. But... Mia, what do you think? Double 6, double pivot, Jaden, Moore and Lad. I think the fan base is obsessed with 6, 8 and 10, Where it doesn't have to be like that, does it? You can mix it up. Mia, you know more.
Yeah. Now we're back to the, roles versus positions. But I do think that playing Ella Toon out wide, she does not have a role as a winger. So even if she's wide, she can make those cut-ins and those runs that she is the best at. So it's like that because I really liked, and I hope we'll get to see that again with Lucy Staniforth and Ella Toon playing as what people saw as 2 wingers. Then you had Vilde Risa as the 10, and you had a 9 in Russo. So I think that's probably one of the best games I've seen United play in terms of that, because you had always, every attack was practically those 4 players in the box when it happened, because you had Staniforth and Ella Toon as the wingers who have the abilities to drift inside and not stay wide. Then you have a player like Leah Galton who is a winger, and she should play out there. So when she is on the pitch, that is her role. No coach would ask Leah Galton to drift inside and make those runs like if Ella Thun is your wingers. So I think that's also a fact. And I do know that this is a hot topic for Manchester United fans, that Alessia Russo is not a number 9 from the beginning. She's used as a 9, and she would probably be a really good number 9 if she will have the chance to practice that position. But she isn't Signe Brun, who is a striker in that way, and that is because of the way they move. You can see that it's the movement inside the box when the ball is out wide. Then you see a proper number 9 moving, and then you have Russo. It's a small detail, but it's a fact.
Yeah, Russo scoring our goals though. That's what I say more than Brunny. But I do hear what you're saying, and that's a new nickname, Brunny. Brunny. But that's a second series, Mia. Forward. You're bringing up some new debate that we're not ready for at the minute.
Yeah, I know that debate, but that's also a part of is that you play different up front with a player like Signe Brun, because Signe Brun you can compare to a player like Stina Blackstenius. She's your first defender. When you lose the ball, the striker is the first defender. And players like Signe Brun and Stina Blackstenius, they will do that work for you because they know their roles.
That could be a third debate, Stina or Brunny. So I don't know. Now, I just want to pull it back to the midfield though, because do you think we are obsessed with a 6, 8, and a 10? Well, that's what we want to see, our fan base. I know that's what I think. But if we are playing a double pivot, it is 2 6s, and it's Jade Moore and Hayely Ladd better.
I'm gonna have to say one more thing about these numbers as well.
Listen, don't have me off.
Yeah, because the fact is also that you can play 2 6s, but one of the 6s can have an offensive role, and one of them can be defensive. It's like looking at Barcelona. You have Alexia Putellas, who is an attacking number 8. People always, not always, but sometimes people going like, oh, she is an attacking midfielder. No, she is Barcelona's number 8, but she has an offensive role. So the numbers, they're not like, they
but
don't
what I will say
anything.
though, double pivot has a negative association. Whether you like it or not, Mia, it has a negative connotation. It means that you're playing 2 defensive players. I know you're saying it can be, but that's the connotation. People, Man United, people who probably watch the men's side and the women's side, Fred and McTominay, they don't want that. They want attacking. They want Pogba. They want Bruno. They don't want to see Fred and McTominay. So, but then that's why I'm saying Jade Moore and Hayely Ladd, would that suit us best? Would we see the best of them? Now I just want to come to you. What would you think the reaction would be if he did that? Negative.
And actually, I the only thing that I remember about Jade Moore when she was playing for Reading was that she was like really physical, and it doesn't matter where she's playing. If she's the only number 6, or we're playing with 2 number 6s, she's that physicality. We really need that in our midfield right now. And I know that fans have the 6, 8, and 10 thing. I don't, honestly, I would be lying if I knew what all of that is. But I think it's just that FIFA thing, right? Because people see those formations on FIFA, and then that's what they see there. But I agree with Nat. I think it kind of depends against the team. I just worry that if we play with the two of them as number sixes, there would be quite a bit of gap between the defensive midfield and the midfielder who's further forward. And usually when we used to when Zelem and Lad used to play as double pivot in our first season in WSL, and Jackie was number 10, I think we saw the same problem. Both of them were like really far behind, and Jackie was up front. Same thing, you play Tooney there, you can be sure Tooney's going to be in the box, and there's going to be like a mile of space between the two of them. So I don't really know if both of them together would make sense, but yeah, why not against a team which a weaker team, if you will, maybe we can try that. But again, against a weaker team, you want to build more, you want to create more chances. So again, not really sure, but I think if she was fit, she would have actually what you're talking about, a double pivot. I think I would have actually subbed her in the second half versus City, just to kind of calm down and stabilize everything, and then build from that. So maybe not the starting position, but depending on the match situation, you can definitely have that.
I mean, that's something that I'm hear a lot about, depending on the match. And Chloe, I just want to take your point on, people say, versus, say we're playing Leicester now, they want to see more attacking players, so they want to see Jackie and Vilde playing, and then maybe versus, your Chelsea, your Arsenal, your tough team, Reading, I don't know, then that's when you might see more of your lads, your Jade more, etc. I mean, what do you say to that opinion?
You probably know how I feel about the whole like big three narrative. I hate it. I hate it at the moment. I hate it. I think against the big teams, we need to be fielding attacking sides. I understand the whole going in defensively, but that absolutely didn't work against City. We saw that. So, do you know what it is? I probably have a bit of a fan complex. I just want to see them do well, and I don't like the narrative of the big three, your City, your Arsenal, your Chelsea, all the time. We can be just as good. We've proved that. Okay, we're not 100% there at the moment, but we're on the way to being there. And so in regards to that, I just think we need to field teams that put up the fight and show that we have got the quality and the strength of player in the squad at our disposal, against the weaker teams, like we've put draws in against some of the weaker teams, we've lost to some of the weaker teams. Like the league changes so fast, you absolutely can't discriminate either end of the table. Arsenal, okay, started incredibly. I've had a few losses to teams that you wouldn't think. It's just you can't discriminate in it. So I think we need to be fielding teams that work objectively against the team that we're playing. Yes, but I don't think it should be specifically play really attacking sides versus like weaker teams to do well, or any sort of arrangement like that. It's purely based on the team and fitness. Yeah.
No, I hear you, and I just think, I mean, me and Mark, we had a little Skinner, Mark, we had a little chat, and I said I think there is this kind of, I think you even said it now, isn't it? You'd want to have seen someone brought on just to steady it up in that second half versus City, and it's frustrating. The two City games that we have had, I think, even especially that one that we've just had.
Yeah, absolutely. It's subs for me. Subs need to happen faster. We need fresh legs. I know how you feel about Ivana Fuso. I know that. And I'd have her on the pitch. There's times where you look at play and you just think, I know who I'd put on now. And that's exactly who it would be. Because the fresh legs, the energy, all of it, But for me, it's just getting a bit frustrating in regards to the subs at the moment. Too late for me.
But do you think that, and I want to bring Mia in here, do you think that's because he doesn't trust his subs, potentially, then? And that's the only thing that I can think why you're not bringing on the subs. Because I agree with what you're saying, Chloe. I think you need to bring something there. When the match was at 1-1 and then it went 2-1, and yes, it did go 3-2, 3-1 straight away quick, and he brought on Brun, but then it was still the same, like there wasn't that like you say, the energy, the passion. Not saying that there's not the people who came and did it, but it wasn't. Ivana's raw, isn't she? You know, yeah, she might not be thingy, but I think when we played City and we won, it was Ivana and Carrie that were the best players on the pitch because they played without that fear, without that anything.
Yeah,
you know,
she's not afraid. She's full of
Yeah.
energy, and she's not afraid to just run at people. And sometimes that's what you absolutely need. Yeah.
Yeah. Mia?
Yeah, I do think it's. I think Manchester United is in a like situation where I can understand why the subs do not happen, because I think that Marc Skinner fully believes, and don't take this the wrong way now, because believes can mean, it means something here. I do think he believes in the unit and the 11 players that is on the pitch in that moment, that they have the abilities to turn things around. But and I do think that you will get what you wish for in the future, because now we have come to like sort of to some sort of step in this, that he sees that you could hear him when he talked after this game. Now that, I mean, I read into what he says that he believed in those 11 players and he wants to show them that he believes in them. And he has done that for a few games now. I do think that we will see changes from now on. And I mean, you guys play Leicester this weekend, right? So I do think it's going to be like a situation where you say poor Leicester for playing Manchester United after these games. Like we usually say, I mean, we usually joke about that during the Chelsea fans, that like after the Reading game now, oh, poor team that's going to meet Chelsea next weekend, because now they're going to turn things around and really show who's the best. And I do think that we're going to see that with Manchester United this upcoming weekend as well.
But that's what they said, though, didn't they? That's what they said versus the first one. And then they said, oh, we'll come back and we'll fight better. And the second one, we're going to show because it's at home, etc., etc. I do think poor Leicester, though, because I do think we will beat them. And I think it will be comfortable. But Leicester are a bogey side. There was a game. The Leicester game was before the Brighton game when it all kicked off, and we were very, very poor that game. And then suddenly we went on that little run in at Christmas and we did better. But Leicester is a bogey team, as you'd say, for us. So I do agree with what Chloe sort of said before. It isn't going to be easy.
It's like Chelsea versus Brighton.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to wrap it up, girls, and I just bring it back to the original and just ask, I suppose, you three girls, what you would say is your best midfield for Man United now, and what the formation you would play it. Nam, I'm going to come to you, mate.
Okay. I don't know if we've actually seen that VBR and Jackie together.
Chelsea was the only time.
Yeah, Chelsea is that. So the thing is that
we're not going to talk about how that turned out. No,
back he was good.
No.
Right?
But there was no lad. There was no lad. Lad is the missing link.
Yeah, we only remember the back heel, nothing else about that man. So, see, the thing is, Toon is going to play no matter what. So, if she's not playing in midfield, she's going to play out wide or somewhere up front, and I don't want her to play that. So, I think Zelem will also play. So, but what I really want to see, at least 60 minutes of Lad, Vilde, Risa, and Jackie together. I also I want to see Groen starting up front at 9, And I don't want to see Alessia Russo on the wing because I think she's kind of wasted there. She can probably be subbed in or something, and just play Bruin with two natural wingers, man. Like just throw crosses in. Just I don't know. I think this whole Bruin and Russo thing just doesn't work out for me, and so I know it's not going to happen. But that's the midfield that I want to see.
Chloe?
I kind of agree with that, actually. I think that brings a good mix of everything, really, to be honest. I definitely want Hayely Ladd there. I like you said, she is the key there. We need her there. Same way in the back, we need Aoife back. Absolutely. I'd like to see more of Risa, to be honest. I feel like she's another one. Bags and bags of talent. I'd love to see more. I also really agree what you said, Nam, about Russo and Bruin. I'm not a fan of that. And I'm not sure entirely why. I'm not a fan of that combination. I don't think it works. I think there might be a bit of a disconnect. Maybe they just need to spend some more time and forge a relationship a bit better. I don't really trust it confidently. But yeah, for me, it's going to be Ladd, Risa, and Jackie as well.
That's the one, mate. Ladd, that's the one area I will not negotiate.
Yeah. Same.
Everywhere else we can negotiate. Ladd, I cannot negotiate on that. And, Ladd over Jackie. Ladd is the MVP. That's the book's closed there. But yeah, Mia, what would be your midfield? What would you want to see? Tell us all the formation. Tell us who you'd play.
Yeah, I do think that I would like to see Alessia Russo and Signe Brun play as a two. I mean, like two strikers, and then you have Ella Toon, like in a more free role, with Vilde Risa as an Alexia Putellas in the offensive number 8 role. I would really like to see that, but then Leah Galton would suffer because if you don't play with the wingers. But I will also say that I think that it was interesting to see Leah Galton play as a fullback. I think it was versus Aston Villa, if I'm not mistaken. Because then you could use her abilities like that as well. But I do think that a 4-4-2 with two strikers would be interesting to see. And then obviously I do think that Hayely Ladd should play. But your best midfield performance so far with attacking play as well was the game, I think, versus Everton with Ladd and Zelem.
Who would you play? Who would be your 4 then? Because you said 4-4-2, so who would be your 4? And I just want to touch on Leah as a fullback because this might then open up a new. But she has done it. The first half of last season, she did it a lot. She did it when we beat
City.
Arsenal, yes, and City, the 2-2 when Tobin scored. So it's not, we can see that Leah Galton as a left back, and I wouldn't be against it. I'd play Honor as the right back, Leah as a left back. That's for me what I'd see. Then Hannah would miss out, but that's another debate. Who would be your 4 then in the midfield if you were going to play 4-4-2, Mia? Just so
that depends on the opponent as well. I'm going to say that because it does. But in a I would really like to see versus one of the top teams then. If we're going to talk about that, then it's
Hayely. The season against Chelsea, top 3 on the line.
Yeah, if we're going to go, we can go back to that game actually, because the midfield didn't work out there. So I would probably say that Hayely Ladd, Katie Zelem, Ella Toon, and Vilde Risa.
Okay. And so where would you? Because in my head, right, I'm thinking 4-4-2. Your right winger, your left winger, and your two, your Keno and your Scholes. So your Keno's your sitting back, and your Scholes is your attacking. But I'm guessing your four's not like that. Is yours like a diamond? What? Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's
Diamond.
a modern formation in England. I know that the
Yeah.
4-4-2 with a diamond.
Okay. So Lad is at the base, Vilde at the top, and then the two.
Yeah. Because then you would have you could let Ella Toon play a more free role. Like I said in the beginning, she doesn't have had to stay wide. She can drift inside. But I do think the fact that Jackie would probably be a good choice instead of Vilde Risa as well here. I do think what United needs to find it's a unit that works in the midfield. I do think that Chelsea needs to find that unit in the midfield as well. I do think that Arsenal need to find that also. I do think that probably Manchester City is the best team in that area at the moment, with Kira Walsh, Georgia Stanway, because they are great defensive midfielders.
Go on. Namrata's got a question.
I think so. My question is: so you've talked about different midfielders, and so I want to ask Mia. Really, does she think that Jackie does not really fit the system that Marc wants to play? And when you're talking about the 4-4-2 as well, because she's a replacement or rotation with Vilde Risa. So do you think that there's no way that we can fit both of them together? And I think that's one of the reasons why Marc is actually not playing her.
I do think that what he said about he wants to see Jackie score more goals, it makes a conflict with what Chloe said about then she has to be on the pitch. But I do think that Vilde Risa has offered more in defense and in attack than Jackie has up till now this season.
Drama.
It can be about the fact that but it can be about the fact that she has been injured. I'm not saying that she's not as good as Vilde Risa, but this is what happens when something disrupts. It's natural.
I can see
it's not that I'm
going up in right now.
yeah, it's not that I'm saying that Jackie is a more worse player than Vilde Risa or that Vilde Risa is a better player than Jackie, but it's what we have seen up till now, that Vilde Risa is a more flexible player and she delivers in every way.
Yeah.
I think personally that I know people then got upset about what Marc said about, but I think he did it right with the way he phased Russo back in, and now she's having a full season. So I mean, he's even sort of semi-phased Lad in, and then unfortunately what happened with Wales, where he's sort of built more back in. She's back training fully, so I'm not worried when he sort of says she'll get time and we'll see the best of Jackie. I mean, Chloe, when you hear him say things like that, he's shown he can. Last season we had a lot of injuries. Yes, a lot of it was moving pitches, but we still had a lot of injuries, just in general. I think potentially what we just said about, you want to see Ivana and we're not rotating enough. That then can lead to injuries. What do you think? Do you think we will eventually see the best Jackie and, like he says, more goals and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I do, and I've got faith in him at the end of the day. I've got faith in what he says about that. I do think we are yet to see utilising her at the best that we can do, and we'll only get to see the best out of her at the end of the day if we're using her in the best way that we can. But I absolutely trust in that, and I believe in that, because he wants more out of her. He's going to get more out of her,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing now as well, because I do think that it's kind of interesting that we all seem to agree on the fact that If it's one midfielder that should be on the pitch, it's Hayely Ladd. And then you have the other midfielders, as we call them. They are very similar. They have I'm quite sure that if we're about to go into a scouting tool to scout these players, that they are probably quite similar. So that's also what we've been talking about this a lot when it comes to other teams, that you have so many attacking players that, who is going to be on the bench and who is going to play. It's the same thing with your midfield. They are quite the same, quite equally good. And you can't say, even though I know some people will, that as long as Jackie is on the pitch, everything will be all right. Or even if she is on the pitch and everything isn't all right, she is still the best player. You can't reason like that in a team sport. Because it doesn't matter how good an individual is as a football player if you still lose games.
I completely agree with that. It's like what you're saying about the unit. You know, she could be the best player in the world, but if everybody around is not supporting her, it doesn't work. That's the whole nature of team sport. Fundamentally, take it back to the basics, exactly what it is. You know, that's why I think it's so important that they're all building these relationships. Like we said earlier about the back heel, she knew exactly what run was going to make. She knew categorically, and it's play like that teams like Arsenal do so well. That ball from Miedema to Blackstenius, superb. It's gameplay like that is going to lead us to being there. But equally, it's not just Jackie that can do that. They can all do that, and I believe that they can all do that. It's just teasing it out of them.
And that's just what I want to touch on. And I mean, we can wrap it up now eventually, but they all can do it. And it's a belief. And that's what I think the difference is between, I know the difference isn't if you look on the paper and if you look at the style and all that kind of thing. For me, it's the belief. And then like what Mia said, Chelsea, they just have that belief that they can do it because they've done it. City have that belief they can do it because they've done it. And same with Arsenal. We have done it, but in spurts, and it's about us doing it all the way. And I feel like if we do it, get the top 3, then it's a different kettle of fish. But if we don't, I think if they still invest and still push and still drive and still believe that this is the best team that they can be at. Because I know Nam was then saying, then she'll leave. But and I just think, leave to where though? Where? I just think that we need to know that this is, I think they all need to know that this is the best project for them all. Look at Brun. She left Leon to come to us. I know she wasn't like playing and all this and that, but she spoke to Marc. She believes in the project. I don't even know, there was things saying and this and that, whether she would have, it was all set that they weren't even going to leave, maybe they were just going to leave in the summer, but she spoke to Marc and she left during the season. So whether she stays longer, I don't know, but I think a lot of these players, they're at the best place for them, but what do I know? They're obviously going to do what they're going to do.
That's very true, though, when you think about as well, like before Arsenal swooped in and stole her. We had Blackstenius looking at us. Who would have thought that? Like, that's, even though we didn't get her, that's still crazy to think that we had that sort of calibre of player looking at little old Manchester United who haven't been in the WSL that long, But it does come back to that whole belief and believing that we are up there. And like you say, whether we get Champions League or not, it could, and I'm saying this very lightly, so please don't quote me on it, but it could do us good to not get that place, because it will drive the likes of Ella Toon absolutely crazy. And it's that hunger that will do it for us next time. So either way for me, we're cooking with gas either way. We're doing really well. So
they should already have it though, because Ellerton's
Yeah.
already suffered it. But yeah, you know, I think they will get it, but I don't know. But listen, guys, go on.
This is like a very dangerous thing you're doing, guys. You're giving me hope. I don't want to have hope right now. I want to like wait the season. Let's see. So yeah.
Like for me, you should have drove you crazy last year, so you should get it this year. But if it takes another year, it takes another year. It's only, you know, really, I don't count the first year as that because, you know, that's just consolidation. These last 2 years have been that, and we have the squad, in my opinion, to do it. So it should do it. It's just that the experience, isn't it, really? That Chelsea players have been there before, Arsenal players, City players. We need to know, you know. Arsenal are back in the title race, so, you know, we finished a point behind them. It's not that much. It's just the belief. That's the only thing for me. But guys, Chloe, thank you for coming on. Namrata, Mia, Chloe, just tell the people, you know, if they wanted to chat to you again, where they can, how they can speak to you.
Twitter, at Chloe Talks Ball, anytime. Message me, just tweet at me, anything. I'm quite happy to respond.
Brilliant. Namrata, go on. Where can people find you?
Yeah. I forgot what the question was, but it's Namrata _YTV.
Brilliant. And Mia, their pitch, shout it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say at their pitch on Twitter and at their .pitch on Instagram.
Brilliant.
I think Manchester United fans will be happy if they followed for like in the future now. I promise.
Okay.
I promise.
Well, that one that we're on about, Mia, yeah? Yeah, she said yeah. Anyway, no, it'll be good. It'll be good. Definitely follow their pitch. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Whatever device you've listened on, YouTube, however way, appreciate it. We're coming back with more debates. You know, if you want to get involved, Only One United, or message me, Natalie17 or Vix, or just any of the guys, they'll point you in the right direction. I'm sure you'll see it. It's big on Twitter, but it'll be coming bigger on different platforms. So yeah, thank you for listening, and you know, like, share, comment, join in the debates. There'll be plenty more coming. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.